we have gathered here for us to tell you something about surfaces, geometry, colors, and ornaments. And you know, we are three people, Gani Turunç, me, and Jörg Niederberger, with whom you will spend tomorrow and the day after the whole day. And we have two experts. One could not come, and you have heard Yolante 2 days ago in her beautiful speech. My interest is to show you the ornaments as a playground for science and art. Would like to tell you how science goes hand in hand with art, or how art goes hand in hand with science. And I have two appointments, one in Zurich at the ETH and one at Boğaziçi University. I am a surface physicist. And first I will tell you, why do we want to investigate ornaments? The next question is, how do we investigate the ornaments? Investigate, I mean classify ornaments from a scientific point of view. And then I will tell you different symmetry groups into which ornaments fit in. And at the end, we will identify some symmetry groups which we will find at the floors of the Cathedral of San Marco. Usually, if you go into San Marco church, you are overwhelmed by the beautiful mosaics, and nobody looks on the floor. It's the marvelous, how do you call it? Pavimento. It's pavement. I have put these slides into not only these, but for you, it is called multi-page document. It's for you to have. You can keep that. Multi-page document is the name. Throughout the history, we have seen ornamental art goes hand in hand with geometry. And this applies not to ornamental art, but also to paintings and all kinds of art, relies on geometry. Geometry is very important. And when we study the ornaments, we also learn about ethnic groups who produce these ornaments. A good example was the expression Islamic art. The example I give you is how people in Neolithic and Paleolithic ages imagined how sun looks like. And these are pictures they put on the walls of caves. These are all signs for the sun. Now, the classical school of ornaments, as you have presented that in your talks too, finds the relationship between colors, figures, harmonies, and the encyclopedic work of ornaments in this field is by the English gentleman Owen Jones. Owen Jones is from London. He was born in London, died in London, and his great book, which he published in the middle of the 1800s, is called The Grammar of Ornament. Now, I will show you what he thinks about the ornaments. Owen Jones, in his book, classified ornaments according to cultural groups, according to ethnic groups. He says these pictures are done by the Arabs, those are by the others, and I will give you some examples. According to Owen Jones, these are some ornaments which you can, Egyptian ornaments, you will find in the tombs of mummies. Because if someone important dies and you don't put him like the Arabs do simply into the earth, they put them in beautiful cases with ornaments inside, and these are all ornaments in those cases. Owen Jones, from the older times, gives us examples of the Chinese art. And certainly, I don't know what Chinese about that, but he finds these on the walls, he finds these on the porcelains. These are some, according to Owen Jones, Persian ornaments. He doesn't say much about that. He only tells how beautiful these things are. They are beautiful. He speaks about color harmony. Owen Jones puts these ornaments from Spain, from Alhambra. You know the Alhambra in Granada? This is the Arabic area in Spain, Andalusia. Owen Jones said that is very interesting for you as architects. He says the ornament is the very soul of an architectural monument. He says there is no architectural work without ornament. It's the very soul. This is what Owen Jones says. This is 1850. And then you have learned, then came the era of Adolf Loos, who finds ornament is a crime. But that is not my area of specialization. I cannot say anything to you. I mean, here you have seen through these examples how classically ornaments are classified according to ethnic groups. Around, towards the end of 1800, independently, three mathematicians wanted to help crystallographers to classify distribution of atoms, that is crystallography. Crystallography deals with the structure of atoms, but this was much simpler in two dimensions. One was in a Russian guy in St. Petersburg, Fyodorov. The other was Schönflies in Germany, in Berlin, and the other was the Englishman Barlow. He could show that the atoms on a two-dimensional surface I can distribute in 17 different ways. Not 18, not 16, which I will show you why. They only have used the symmetry properties of the distribution. So I come to symmetry. So I go away from randomly distributed figures in an ornament. I go towards periodic ornaments, because atoms on a surface are periodic and they are well defined and so on. Now, this mathematical approach that relies on symmetry, concept of symmetry, and has some advantages, big advantages. They are very systematic and objective. It is easily documented and it is precisely defined. That means the result you come is exactly the same what I would say. That is the good thing. But you will lose many things. And then in 1920s, I mean, you'll see this field proceeds very slowly, because the three guys were about 1850, and we had to wait until 1920. As a Hungarian guy, he was Jewish, he came to Zurich, he was professor of mathematics in Zurich, and he could show that this classification applies to atoms in crystallography and to the ornaments. This guy, even in 1940, was so afraid of Germans that he left Switzerland and went to Stanford University. And we have a neighbor who about 85 years old, and he told me last week that he went to Stanford as a postdoc and he met Polya. He was at that time an important guy. Now, we are talking about two-dimensional ornaments. I would like to show the symmetries. And when you speak about symmetry, there are some symmetrical operations. What are symmetry operations? I can first say the first group is called point symmetry. Point symmetry implies that one point remains the same. It does not change. When I have symmetry operation, one point remains. That is rotation. In rotation, this point remains, and I rotate it. I don't move it away. A good example for that is the rosettes you see all over, especially in the churches. It doesn't move, it is there, it's static. So it's rotation. Now, rotation by n, the order of rotation is called n. N is 360 degrees over n. So if I have an object, I rotate by 90 degrees and it maps on itself, has order 4 because 360 a six-fold. I mean, if I speak about six-fold symmetry, then n is 6. That means I can rotate by 60 degrees, the object maps onto itself. The other point operation is reflection. Put a mirror and reflect the object, and therefore it's called M for mirror. But then I would like to have that in 2 dimensions. I have to translate my object from one point to the other one. It is called translation. Now, I can translate it in 1 dimension. We have some bands. We can have beautiful bands. You have shown us some bands. These bands are called also friezes. These friezes separate 2 maybe different surfaces from each other. This is in 1 dimension. But the ornaments usually are in 2 dimensions. So the speed, this translation, is in 2 different directions. And then there is the 4th one, which is the glide reflection. Glide reflection is a mirror plus translation. And for you, the best example is when you walk on sand, look at your footprints. It is glide reflection, like that. So these are the main operations. We will use these operations. Okay, like you said, tessellation. I heard this morning the word tessellation. You said you can call them patterns, tilings, whatever you like in any language. I don't know what you say in Turkish. And the tessellation. Mosaic, the face of Christ is no tessellation. Okay, if I think of it, and you see it usually, if you look at his shirt, at my shirt, not your shirt, it's a beautiful tessellation, what you have. So you find tessellations on fabric. You find tessellations on floor, on walls, and therefore it is called wallpaper group. This whole thing is called by the artist wallpaper group, meaning that we find that mostly, as we have seen this morning, on wallpapers. And now I show you a picture which I extracted from a movie which we have seen lately, The Darkest Hour, about the life, a period of the Churchill's life. It's a movie of 2017, and please observe the head of the soldier, of one soldier. This whole picture is 2-dimensional. Therefore, we have to take this head and distribute it in 2 dimensions. The 2-dimensional distribution, can call it a lattice. A lattice is what crystallographers call, you can say a grid, you can call it a mesh. So I have to take the head of the soldier and make my lattice. The head of soldier sits on a lattice point, defined as lattice point, and I do my translation by 2 vectors, A and B. These are called translation vectors. Before I said P translation, And here I have two dimensions. In one direction is a B, in the other direction is A. A is not equal to B, and the angle is not 90 degrees, so it's an oblique lattice. It's any lattice. You'll see soon you can have rectangular, square, and so on. The two vectors, translation vectors, they define us a unit cell. Unit cell is the smallest area which contains all the properties of the big army. It repeats itself in two dimensions. Now, in order actually, I have to come here. This is the picture I would like to show you. Now, what you have here is 10 different units. Each unit consists of a number. On the left, you see a top 1. Then you have an R. R, you should regard R as an asymmetric object. I didn't put A because A has mirror symmetry. I didn't put an O. O has mirror symmetry and rotation and so on. I could have put an F, but I put an R. So I play with R now. Next to it, you have a motif which I find in internet. That motif doesn't have any symmetry at all. And then I put the projection of a molecule because I speak about crystallography, so I have to speak about atoms. And see, in that molecule, there is no symmetry at all. And the designation of this symmetry group is 1. Now, one by one, I will apply point group symmetry operations. I will not move the object. I will apply point group symmetry operations. First, I apply mirror. The next line. If I have this stick, I can show this one. Here we have R, this is the mirror, and this motif has mirror, this molecule has mirror, and the sign is M. I can next, after applying this mirror, I can apply another mirror in the perpendicular direction. You see the motif has mirror here and a mirror there. Now there is something interesting has happened. By combining two different symmetry operations, we have induced an additional symmetry operations which we did not want, because this figure has also a rotation symmetry. This is the axis of a rotation symmetry. Observe this one. You can rotate this picture by 180 degrees, you get the same. So applying two mirrors induces that. And one by one, here we have twofold symmetry. This is called inversion symmetry. Here we have threefold symmetry. I apply one by one on the same, if you like, head of the soldier, these symmetry operations. Here we have applied a threefold symmetry plus mirror and so on. And here it's very quite involved. We have applied sixfold symmetry plus mirror. So these 10 different configurations are result of applying point group symmetry. But point group symmetry doesn't help me much. I have to extend it in two dimensions still. We have again the crystallographic point groups, and then I have to put that in a unit cell and propagate that in space, in two-dimensional space. And oblique, my simple R goes into oblique. But if I have a mirror symmetry, which goes from one motif to the other one, I cannot put it into the simple oblique. This mirror needs the mirror all over. It has to be commensurate. It has to be propagating. Therefore, for this case, I have to have a rectangular lattice. A more complicated case is rectangular with a center. The C is for center, P for primitive, and observe the fold symmetry case with two mirrors going from one motif to the other one in 2 dimensions. That calls for a square lattice. And threefold symmetric and sixfold symmetric point group representations I can only put into hexagonal lattice. Now, what you see here, it's very simple. Take, for example, rectangle. If you take a rectangle and ask yourself, what type of symmetries do I have with the rectangular lattice? I can rotate it. I can mirror. And around this point, around that point, and so on. This picture just tells me that. This picture down there shows me the symmetry properties of a rectangle. Now, what do I have? I have here, for each point, my point group, and here I have my cells in 2 dimensions where I have to put my motif inside. Okay, this is a summary of, here I have my lattices, and here I have my crystal classes, and if I put these into those, I get 13 different symmetry groups. Now, by combining the point group symmetry with a lattice induces me further, if I want or not, some glide reflections, like the footsteps in sand. And there are 4 of those. In total, we have 17. And this is the 17 different wallpaper groups. So in reality, and this is many numbers. What does it mean, the 17? This is even worse. Here you have the symmetry properties, but this might be better. If I have an ornament like that, I can immediately compare this with my symmetry groups and tell a name for that. And here I have 17 of those. And these are the usual beauty, and this is the inside of an Egyptian tomb, and so on. And there are 17 of those. Now, let's see an Escher. Look at this Escher. Animal-like objects, the red ones. The heads of the red ones come together at one point. At that point, you can put an axis perpendicular to the plane and rotate the whole picture by 120 degrees to get this. At that point, and there are some blue animals. The heads of the blue animals represent the tails of the blue ones. It's another threefold symmetry. Then what you see is you see some mirrors. Observe the vertical mirror. You can apply a mirror here. This side is exactly this side. And since it's threefold symmetric, I have not only this mirror, I have this mirror, and I have that mirror. Now what I do is put this crystallographic representation next to it, play around with the scale until they fit, and tell that this picture represents me a group which is called primitive. P for threefold symmetry, P3. Then you put an M for mirror, which is perpendicular to the identified translational vectors. And in the other direction, there is nothing, so it is P3M1 is the symmetry of this Escher drawing. And this Escher is called Maurits. Now, this might be for you still too complicated. I have here a simpler recipe. I can look at the Escher's picture and say, okay, I can rotate it by 120 degrees, but the picture maps into itself. So I go to 120. Then, is there a reflection? Yes, there are 3 reflections. I go further. Are all rotation centers on axis? Yes. So it is a P1 that, and if you tell me P3 and 1, I know exactly the symmetry properties that ancient property. So this is the basis which we will apply. Now, the story, oh, okay. I can show you how we play with that. Look at the picture on the left-hand side. You see there twofold symmetry axes. And you can play with these the whole day. I see there threefold symmetry axes. Do you see the threes? And I see there a sixfold symmetry. So, and I don't find any mirror. There is no mirror in this picture. I mean, you cannot find any mirror symmetry. It's like playing around, actually. So, after identifying the translational vectors, like you say that hexagonal shape, the star, you can follow the repetition of the star, and you can, in blue, show the two translational axes, and you can measure it's 60 degrees between them. And this is the unit cell, and this is called P6. As the symmetry. The one on the right-hand side, you see the twofold symmetry axis. You have the fourfold symmetry axis. You see the squares? And fourfold symmetry is square all the time. Then I identify mirrors. Do you see the mirrors in the whole picture? Yes, yes, in 2 directions. These are mirrors. These are also mirrors. But complicated. They are also glides. These are glide lines. It's more difficult. It's getting fun. Along that line, you have mirrored and moving. I don't know whether you see it. Like this rhombic shape. Along this axis, you make this, you find its mirror, you find this. Or you can take a square, you mirror it, you get to that one, and so on. I mean, you can play with these because I have given you all these pictures. So this property, the M's and 4's and so on, this is translational axis and unit cell, and this is P4GM, it's called. P4 is fourfold symmetry, G is for the light, and M for the mirror. Now, more story or history. Family, an engineer living in Madrid. They have a daughter growing up. In order for her to get a proper high school degree, they sent her to Zurich. After high school, she joined University of Zurich to study astronomy. This is the Edith Alice Müller. While she was studying astronomy, Alfred Spicer, he was very well known. He could talk her into leaving astronomy, going into mathematics, into group theory, liked it, and she left for her PhD thesis and to Granada. Identified in Alhambra all these funny things, all these symmetries. She found out of 17, 13 ornaments of Zurich, in the ornaments of Alhambra. Now, the thing is, 1949, 2020. And she published them. Until now, they are on the field, mainly 10 publications. Most of the guys have dated the book by openness, found there some ornaments, and identified those ornaments in groups and published them. But most of the time, active people right up to now, showing that in Alhambra there are not 13, maybe 14 or 16 ornaments which Alice Müller has missed. So there is not much work on that. Now, this has not been applied. This has been applied to North African work, North African ornaments, like to any Turkish ornament, like to any Byzantine ornament. And as we are here in Byzantine, still living, there are 3, 4 of those. In Torcello we have San Zaccaria, but the most beautiful example is the San Marco Cathedral. Now, I have tried to get permission and make our own pictures. I could not get this permission. Working on that, I tell you, since 6 months. And later, I have realized why didn't give us this permission. Lighting conditions are very bad in the church. You could. Secondly, they don't let you go to any place. Well-defined path where tourists have to walk. Thirdly, all over says no pictures, and then we go and make pictures. The other guys will be both. But there are publications so far which I have found, and I have to make some jumps. Okay, that's not bad. On the right-hand side, you see under hand drawing of the whole tiles of the floor pavements of some. There are millions of. I have. One example. The other one is you can look in it. Murray Grip. Murray Grip is a professor of art in Minnesota. She found such plans, hand drawings in colors. Please on her page. This is not the only example what she has published on her page. This is murraygrip.com. He also has some Middle Asian examples, some European examples, and so on. What I did was another book is André Bruyère. André Bruyère has published in 1989 an article with only some pictures of the San Marco floors. It's an art you will see on some places he put a rose, at some other places there's a bottle. He looked nice. He played with the shadows. I took that book and could find some 50 nice ornaments we can work on. Because I tell you again, oh, there you have Marie Curie. What I have planned to the following, I give you the try to identify them, try to classify them. How do we do it? A, the recipe, you look at the recipe and identify the ornament. This is the first step. But as we have talked before, we have to imagine the ornament is indefinitely large. If you have a small piece, it doesn't tell you much. You have to identify, you have to take its artist, artisans, who make it. They make some mistakes. They are handmade. So don't apologize. Forget about the mistakes. Form in color. You will see while doing that work that color destroys symmetry. I strike black here or red or soft silk, and this whole thing gets destroyed. Ornaments, you will see that they are interlaced. Like this. Interlacing makes it complicated. I have pictures like that, but I don't know how to go there. Oh, that is through copying process. This also from the Owen Jones book, these savage tribes. Savage tribes, what we understand, what we think about savage tribes. And these things are the inhabitants of Pacific Islands. Example is, by the time I can remember, Sandwich Islands, Hawaii, Sandwich Islands, or the Haiti, and the islands, I don't know if Friendly Islands. But these you find, these ornaments you find on tents, on baskets, and so on. I have to get out of that and show you something else. Escape. What do I do? I have put some other pictures which I would like to show you. 2, 3. Okay, thank you. I mentioned to you Marie Grebe. Here we are. Marie Grebe took the plan of San Marco Cathedral and produced by hand this beautiful thing. Testing. She produced first black and white drawings and colored them. You will see, if you proceed further for me, there is one picture by itself. Mm-hmm. So the next one is that one. This you have seen.
Yes.
This again handmade.
Mm-hmm. But here I can clearly see the section of the cathedral itself.
Yes, this is truthful.
Yes, exactly. But
in case of Marie Grebe, it's not truthful. She made it in an artistic way.
Yes, so this is an abstraction.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. But still, look at these two. These 4. In Marie Grebe, you have these 4 too.
Oh, yeah.
These 4. It is similar, but it is, it's handmade.
Yes, it is an abstraction.
She didn't have photographs.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I have another slide, if you would like to show for me.
Is it here?
It is. No. 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 Normal. Mm-hmm. No, these are pictures. I don't know where it is.
There's another slide we have to download.
Can it be below? Ah, there, no. Okay, I have to describe it to you. There, I want to tell you that you have to be careful with the interlacing. You have to forget about interlacing. I draw your shirt with interlacing, more difficult as far as the symmetry is concerned. I also, in this slide, which I cannot find through this procedure, an ornament is look at it and try to find its symmetry. Line drawing of that line drawing, I did few of those as I have shown to you. Fine edges or something. By fine edges of Photoshop, you make a line drawing. Then you find the symmetry. Suggestion to you is eventually take the line drawing motifs and recolor them ourselves. And that way our own ornaments. Only the lines. Right, we can try to see how the symmetry group changes. I tell you how we proceed tactically. I have 48 ornaments, not by chance. I thought if you make 8 ornaments, you can work together. How to make it by work on these 8 ornaments. I would like to tell you ornament from that group, this person has to present if you make an exception. I would like to decide on that is the following. That way I can eliminate the everybody has the same ornament. Because the whole ornament may be different, but it may have the same. So in order that the total of our presentations gets colorful, I would like to tell everyone ornament. And in an exhibition like that. Now this exhibition can be different. I have seen there is a booth reserved for us. After we go, there is a place where we can put our stuff. Like Benny Bey said, we can make something like that, an exhibition. These are only 12. And in the final picture, you can say the original ornament, crystallographic group, and my ornament, for example. But that is up to you, how you play around. It's ornament. But I tell you, I especially tell this to male colleagues, don't play around with ornaments for one symmetry group. Lady comes, you keep looking at her. Tighten the ornament. In order to figure out that ornament, I have to look at it in a all the pictures I have shown to you in the drive, it's called multi-page document. I would say drive, you will see of the 17 groups under templates. Also in the drive, there are 18. There are the groups. Yes, ornament and okay, there.
Which one? Templates?
Templates, these are the 17 that help you to compare your ornament. These are the 17 ones with the right designation. And the other one is this one. Okay, if you are 6 groups, each group has here his own ornament.
To work on.
Okay, so this is the group 1 gets these ornaments to play with. Group 2 gets the other one, and so on. In each group there are these ornaments. They are from the book of Bruyère. I don't know what time we have and how you're
11:30.
11:30. So I suggest that you make groups, 6 groups, take these onto your own computer and start playing with them. It will certainly help you find the mirrors. First step, we have to identify these groups. In the second step, we can make line drawings if you find it interesting. Final step, it is very personal that you put for your own ornaments, your own colors into the ornament. What happens? So I do suggest that before we leave again for lunch or whatever, everybody has his own ornaments, and then I will tell you ornaments. So how do you download these? I don't know.
Everyone should have a computer, laptop.
Yes.
They're all JPEG, yeah.
It's all JPEG, and you can take it from the drive.
The only thing I know is I have to have your names, who is in which group, and so on. And we had here again, Hilfe. Can you please go inside, deep inside? No, here, into here, and there's a program. Workshop schedule, exactly. And there, no, this one. And further. I would like to ask you, if possible, too much. If you print me this page.
Yes.
You see, I have read these. I know what is where.
And Eli actually.
So this ends my presentation, and thank you for your attention. And I give you now a few minutes to direct me your questions, because nobody interrupted me during the last hour. Yes. Give you now a few 5 to 10